Most candidates approach competitive English exams by treating the syllabus as an endless vocabulary list. They drill thousands of isolated words, hoping sheer volume will carry them through the test. Exams for banking, the SSC, or university placements function as structural logic tests. Language proficiency operates on a highly organized system. Sentences are held together by grammatical tethers, contextual markers, and strict rules of sequence. By analyzing these underlying parameters, test takers can deduce answers using the text's internal evidence. Mastering the exam requires a transition from passive reading to the active decoding of linguistic architecture. This architecture uses a 4-layer information stack. Layer 1 evaluates lexical precision of individual words. Layer 2 maps contextual syntax around text gaps. Layer 3 uses sequence mapping to logically tether sentences. Finally, Layer 4 is macro analysis, extracting the entire text's overarching meaning. These 4 pillars represent a sequential evolution of complexity, scaling from the analysis of a single word to the evaluation of a complete thought. True synonyms rarely share identical meanings. Instead, they vary based on intensity, degree, and the specific environment of the sentence. Take the structural distinction between rich and wealthy. Rich refers to a salary enabling luxury spending, a linear flow. Wealthy identifies accumulated assets generating continuous revenue, a self-sustaining loop. Swapping these terms in a test question changes the economic reality established by the sentence. Vocabulary testing measures a candidate's ability to calibrate a word against its surrounding environment. Phase 2 focuses on contextual syntax, typically presented as a cloze test. A cloze test is a passage with regular omissions, designed to evaluate grammatical and thematic understanding simultaneously. Attempting to fill a blank by examining only the immediate sentence frequently leads to errors. Structural deduction requires 2 axes. The vertical grammatical axis filters mechanical requirements, like prepositions. The horizontal contextual axis maps the logic of surrounding sentences, ensuring thematic alignment. Solving a cloze gap involves finding the intersection where strict grammatical rules meet thematic logic. Phase 3 is sequence mapping. Jumbled paragraphs are engineered to fit together in exactly one correct order. The process begins by isolating the anchor noun. The opening sentence introduces the main subject and rarely contains a pronoun. Step 2 tracks the pronoun tether. Sentences starting with pronouns must lock directly onto the previously established noun. Finally, cause and effect markers, like therefore and however, dictate the rigid placement of supporting and concluding details. Apply these steps to 5 disorganized blocks. Eliminate transitions and pronouns. Block C takes position 1, introducing the anchor noun, trees. Block A connects next. Block E snaps in, its pronoun linking back. Finally, Block D anchors the conclusion with therefore. This specific sequence emerges not by chance, but through a series of rigid linguistic tethers pulling it all together. The 4th phase is macro analysis. In reading comprehension, the objective is to extract the central theme and authorial purpose. This cognitive tier list shows 3 types of comprehension questions. Tier 1 is factual identification, requiring the direct extraction of stated data. Tier 2 is inferential reasoning. This requires deducing conclusions from the patterns in the text, even when unstated. Tier 3 is critical evaluation. This tests the ability to judge the author's argument, intent, and overall tone. Comprehension requires the synthesis of the previous pillars, lexical precision, syntax mapping, and sequential tracking to reach a final conclusion. When these layers are applied simultaneously to a single text, the exam reveals a unified matrix of logic. Synonyms, prepositions, and pronoun tethers all interact within the same paragraph. The decoding process transforms a passive reading of the text into an active interrogation of its structure. By identifying nouns, mapping transition vectors, and calibrating word contexts, the internal logic of the test becomes visible. Language is an engineered system. Mastering its architecture allows a candidate to reverse engineer the correct answers across any challenge.